I am recording. What's up? This is Laura Jane, and I'm back with some more tuning talk for you and for me. So today I want to get into even more about how things like meditation can be such a perfect way to feel our feelings more. And I feel like this is an important modern distinction. In fact, I even came across an article yesterday that kind of triggered me a little bit, in that it was addressed to probably people like me who are talking a lot about vibration and creating our own reality and even things like law of attraction. But just to also bring in this awareness of potential privilege with this sort of talk and approach, and even some sort of oppression or ways that we might be tuning out to some realities that are not respecting the truths of some people, perhaps, and overriding the value of hardship and the truth of hard feelings. So, yes, this perhaps refreshed approach that is not just all about positivity and the light. This is more of a being fully human kind of an approach. And I got another great quote from Kyle Cease. It's just one line that says it so sweetly, that we're not necessarily here to feel happy, but to feel fully. So there's an invitation there, and maybe even a challenge for some of us to open up to letting ourselves not just feel happy, but feel fully. Although I admit that I feel like we're probably more likely to feel happy if we let ourselves feel more fully. So I feel like this is new territory for me, as having been someone who's always called very positive and a silver lining kind of person, glass half full kind of attitude, that I think, learned from family, and I was fortunate to be raised in that kind of thinking, and then even gravitating towards how that's a yogi thing to do, to be aware of our focus and our attention and our beliefs and our imagination, and seeing it all as energy. But it doesn't seem to involve overriding feelings or truths, as I'm seeing it now more than ever, that to really tap into who we are and who we want to be, it can be so much more rich and full and powerful to allow a more full experience, including with our feelings. And I'm also intrigued with how much we could keep ourselves out of the dramatic disorder type of experiences with things like our feelings, if we let ourselves just feel our feelings more in general, day to day. And so I love things like meditation and all the ways that we can practice meditation, whether it's just sitting and closing our eyes or doing things that are more like meditation in action. But either way, it gives us a chance to do that listening within, to do that feeling of the feelings. And then we can also bring in some practices, some approaches that might make that easier or smoother, or we might feel stronger going in. Like just some of the simplicities of loving what we see, and just honoring what's true, and even just allowing it and even feeling it. And things like sadness, allowing tears, things like anger, allowing that, and maybe finding healthy ways to express it and let it out that don't necessarily feed the momentum of the feelings in a way that we don't want. So there seems to be a distinction between getting stuck in feelings and wallowing in feelings, but I really get the feeling that most of us are doing more of the opposite, avoiding our feelings. And that's where I think this dramatic, intense versions of feelings that some of us have been dealing with, I really think that comes from our not feeling our feelings enough, and are pushing the feelings down and not letting ourselves cry and not letting ourselves get mad, is what I think can get us even more out of balance and get feelings of anxiety coming up, feelings of depression, feelings of intense anger, and even things like nervous breakdowns, right? So what if instead each day we really use some of these practices, some of these approaches to do that tuning in, to find out how we are feeling and spend some time with our feelings and get into ways to allow that more and just feel that more, and then also free it up so that we can move through the feelings and allow just a more rich, full, broad experience of feelings, which again I think will still edge us towards the feeling better and the more potential to enjoy our lives and feel fulfillment. So maybe there's a difference between fulfillment and happiness. And then how much are our feelings a way for us also to connect with ourselves and maybe even the spiritual part of us. There's a lot of teachings out there that talk about our feelings as guidance from an inner part of us, a wiser part of us, maybe even the God-like part of us. So perhaps also our feelings are there as guidance that we can use more lovingly to notice when we are really out of alignment with that inner part of us or our heart or our soul. So feelings as guidance and feelings as something to feel and something to allow and experience and free up. Sure. Yes. So I'm excited. I'm excited about a new way with feelings for adults and kids. Although I think it's been interesting for us adults to try at all to teach our kids about feelings if we haven't quite figured it out ourselves. So for all ages, a new paradigm with feelings. More about just feeling the feelings, not this like just being positive stuff, but being real. And yeah, if there is a big privilege to even being in this work, that's certainly true, right? That it's a privilege to even be in these things like self-actualization and playing with things like tuning into our higher selves and getting into our creative flow. Yes, that is a privilege, isn't it? To even be in the space where we're ready to contemplate such things, even as it may feel challenging. So, but I say yes, and if we are in that position to have the privilege to be considering these things in our lives, then it's our job even more to be the ones considering these things and really tapping in, getting into what we're here to do, also like how we're here to help, because so much of our inner work is leading us, I really feel, towards how we can help. So not just about navel gazing or getting all narcissistic and caught up in our own reflection, but doing that reflecting and that contemplating so that when we do go in the world, we're who we want to be, and that so that when we do hear those great ideas of how we can help, we're even more ready to act on it and do it for the world. So it is a privilege to be in the space, to be doing these things, and yes, it is our job, because we're the ones with the privilege, to do this work and to get down to what the heck we are here to do and help with in the tiniest ways and in the big ways. So yes, tune in to you. I'm going to keep tuning in to me and knowing that that's some of the best ways we can help, and then moving forward from what we discover in that tuning. And yeah, how much more open and free as beings are we going to be if we're allowing the feelings, feeling the feelings, and allowing that in the people we love as well. Because of course, the more we allow that with ourselves, the more we're going to have an easier time being that space for other people to have their feelings without feeling like we need to tell them to stop or not to express those feelings, because those feelings are there for a reason, right? So the more we can feel them, the more we can listen to them, the more we can work with them, then yes, the more we can also change them if we want to, right? Yeah. So powerful work. I'm stoked to be sharing it with you. And let me know if you have anything you want to share about these ideas about privilege, bypassing feelings, spiritual community, how we may be overriding truths in a disrespectful way, and how can we be even more heartful and present with how to use this work in a way that is helpful for ourselves and the world, and really honoring that we all have our own experiences, and we may not all have such privilege. So yes, to use the privilege to get down to how we can help, which may feel more like play, but that probably shows us when we're really tuned into our best ways to help, is that it may not feel like work, it may feel more like play, but yes, getting to work with our play and our ways to help by dealing with our own feelings differently. A lot of shifts can happen from there. So anyways, thank you for being here. I'm going to sign off. Sending love. Namaste.